Stop scrolling. I had a client 5 days from closing dispute a collection account on his own without asking me first because a video online told him to. His score jumped 19 points. He felt great about it. 4 days later, the Bureau re verified the account. It reported again, and it came back lower than where he started. He didn't just lose the 19 points, he lost the house because the file couldn't close on time. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why disputing your credit report can be the single worst move you make right before a mortgage, and the 3 moves that actually raise your score instead. And I'm going to show you the real, public FHA document that explains how your score actually gets calculated for a mortgage, a number that has nothing to do with what Credit Karma shows you. Almost nobody watching this has ever seen this page. Stay to the end because the biggest single point swing I've ever used is the last thing I show you. That's not a rare story. That's what happens every single day when good sounding advice online runs straight into an automated underwriting system nobody bothers to explain to regular people. And once you understand how that system actually reads your file, you'll never take generic credit advice from a stranger online again. Everybody online tells you the same thing. Dispute everything on your credit report. The late payment, the collection, anything that looks bad. Get it removed, watch your score jump. Here's what almost none of them tell you. This is a real page out of the FHA's own handbook, publicly posted, that almost no borrower has ever seen. It's called the Minimum Decision Credit Score, the MDCS. And here's the part Credit Karma never shows you. If you have 3 credit scores, one from each bureau, the lender uses the median, the middle one, not your best one. If you have 2, the lender uses the lowest one, not an average, the lowest. That's the actual number you're qualifying on, sitting in a public document, not a secret formula some loan officer is hiding from you. And here's the second thing most people never see: the actual FICO weighting behind that number. 35% of your score is payment history. 30% is how much you owe relative to your limits, your utilization. 15% is how long you've had credit. 10% is new credit. 10% is your mix of account types. Most people obsess over disputing one bad account, which barely moves that 35% bucket, while completely ignoring the 30% bucket, utilization, which is often the fastest lever in the entire scorecard. Now here's why disputing is such a gamble in the first place. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac's automated underwriting, DU and LPA, flags open disputes on a credit report and requires the lender to investigate and often rerun the entire file once the dispute is resolved. If the dispute gets dropped by the creditor, the inflated score sticks, and the credit repair company that told you to dispute looks like a genius. But if the account gets re-verified and reports again, the Bureau's own algorithm can treat it as fresh activity based on the new verification date, not the original one, and your score can land lower than where you started. That's exactly what happened to my client. He didn't gamble on odds he understood. He gambled on odds a stranger on the internet never explained to him. Compare that to a borrower I worked with around the same time. Almost the exact same profile. One bad medical collection from years earlier. She wanted to dispute it the same way. Instead, we left the item alone completely, made a single goodwill call on a different late payment, still reporting on an otherwise good account, and opened the secured card. 90 days later, her score was up 68 points. No disputes filed, nothing for DU to flag, and her files sailed through with 0 conditions on the credit side. Same starting point, completely different outcome, because the process, not the intention, was different. Now, disputing isn't always wrong. There's a specific window where it's genuinely the only path. But before I get there, you need to understand why most people are matching themselves to the wrong loan program entirely. And that mistake costs more than any dispute ever could. Here's something almost nobody explains. Every loan program has a different score floor, and some have income restrictions layered on top. FHA will generally go down into the high 500s to low 600s depending on the lender's overlay. Conventional financing through Fannie or Freddie typically wants a mid 600 score or better to get real pricing. VA has no hard score floor from the VA itself, but individual lenders set their own overlay, commonly in the low to mid 600s. That means the exact same 620 score that gets you a perfectly good FHA loan might get you a worse rate or an outright decline on a conventional loan. And the exact same file might sail through VA underwriting with zero drama. I spent years coaching people through exactly this. I'd sit down with a printed copy of their actual credit report next to the public FICO weighting chart I just showed you, and we'd map, item by item, what was actually dragging the score down and which program that score profile was actually built for. That single conversation, matching the right person to the right program, saved more deals than any dispute letter ever did. And income matters just as much as score on some of these programs. Certain first-time buyer and down payment assistance programs stack an income cap on top of the credit requirement. So a borrower can have a perfect 800 score and still not fit the box if their household income runs over the local limit for that specific program. Matching profile to program was never just about the number on the credit report. It was about the whole file: income, assets, and credit, fitting the same box at the same time. And one more thing that trips people up constantly: not all credit report pulls are the same. A Credit Karma score is a real score, but it's typically a Vantage score, not the FICO model mortgage underwriting actually uses. I always preferred pulling a real 3-bureau FICO report, the same kind a lender pulls, because coaching someone toward a number they'll never actually be scored on wastes their time and yours. We're about halfway through. Everything so far has been how the system actually reads you. The second half is what to actually do about it, in the exact order I've used it for almost 2 decades. And the last move on this list is the one people always tell me they wish they'd known 5 years earlier. If you've got a specific account sitting on your report right now that you're not sure whether to dispute or leave alone, drop it in the comments. I read every one, and this is exactly the kind of file-specific question a generic credit repair video can't answer for you. So if disputing is a coin flip, here's what I've actually used in order for real files. 1. For an account that's currently in good standing with just 1 or 2 old late payments, a 3-way call between you, me, and the lender asking for a goodwill removal costs nothing but a phone call, and it works more often than people expect, especially with a lender you've had a long relationship with. 2. For a genuinely bad, accurate account that's already gone to collections, the only reliable fix is pay for delete, negotiating directly with the creditor or collection agency to remove the trade line entirely from the report, not just mark it as paid. A paid collection still shows as a collection. A deleted one is gone. Both of those moves, by the way, cost nothing but time and a phone call. That matters because half of the credit repair industry charges monthly fees to do exactly what a 3-way call and a little patience can accomplish for free. 3. And this is where the FICO weighting chart matters again. Attack the 30% utilization bucket directly. Open a secured card with a $300 limit, charge about $50 on it, and pay it down to a $25 balance the next day, leaving that small balance sitting there instead of paying it to zero. That single move can add 100 to 150 points because of how utilization is weighted into that score. That's a disproportionate return for a $25 float, and it's legal, and it's public information sitting in the same scoring model FICO itself has published. And the fourth move, the one people wish they'd known about years earlier, is the one that determines whether any of this even matters. 4. Only dispute a genuinely inaccurate item, something that literally isn't yours or is reporting factually wrong. Never an accurate item you just don't like. And do it early, months before you plan to apply. Never 5 days from closing. So there's time for it to resolve one way or the other before an underwriter ever sees the file. I've been doing this since 2007, before loan officers even needed a license to do this job. and I've watched every credit trend, every quick fix, and every myth cycle through this industry at least twice. If you want to actually see where you stand before you touch anything on your credit report, I built a real calculator at timtalksrealestate.com that shows your true monthly payment, including mortgage insurance, so you know what you're actually qualifying toward before you take a single action. It's free, and I don't originate loans anymore, so there's nothing being sold to you on the other end of that link. So here's the takeaway. The score isn't a mystery, and it isn't a secret formula some loan officer is guarding. It's a public document and a public weighting model, and the moves that actually work are boring, patient, and legal, not a dispute letter you found on a forum 5 days before closing. That's the whole difference between this channel and everyone else yelling about a housing crash. I'm not here to tell you the system is rigged and leave you there. I'm here to show you the actual page, the actual math, and the actual move, because that's the only thing that ever got someone from a decline letter to a closing table. But credit is only half of qualifying, because I once had a borrower whose credit was so bad that every single lender in town said no. And it turned out his score was never actually the problem. Next video, I'm telling you exactly what we did instead, because it's still legal and it still works. Subscribe if you want it. I'll see you in the next one.